doing? All right, here we go. All right, everybody's gotten their desserts, right? And I hope coffee so that you can at least not fall asleep for the time being. We're going to work through this. There's a lot that we want to do today, and unless your department heads have a problem with it, and I know they won't, once we get through it, you guys can, for all I care, you can split the time for the weekend. Unfortunately, there's not going to be any beverage service to come by, no happy hour. I know Kenny wants to keep all of you guys around right to the last minute, but I know the rest of the department heads are fine with that. So, you're going to miss all that, Ken. All right. So welcome everybody. It's great to see such a great turnout this year, and this is an occasion I look forward to every year because it's really an opportunity for me as the chief elected official of the city to recognize great work and dedication, and it's all over the place. I have a unique viewpoint. Or vantage point, I should say, as the mayor, because I interact with every department. I see what you guys do. Sometimes it's harder for one department to see what others are doing, but I see it all, and I can't tell you just how impressed I am with what all of you as a group, what we as a group accomplish day in and day out for the residents of our city. As you know, we've talked about so many times before, our residents deserve our best judgment, our best effort, our dedication to the interest of the city, period. And I see that play out every day, and it's just, for me, as your mayor, as the city's mayor, I just want to tell you just how proud I am of those efforts. And we're going to get a chance to single certain people out today, both for their longevity and dedication, as well as to award certain folks a new set of awards, newish set of awards that we started when we developed the New Bedford Way a few years ago as a statement of our organization's values. So more on that later. And we'll start in on the longevity pins first. But before I do, I want to thank everybody in personnel, Sandy and particularly Sarah Fidelix, who make sure that I'm halfway squared away. I'm still trying to keep up, but thank you for making it easy on me and my staff, Kat Saucier, and everybody else who's worked on this, because it's an important ceremony. This is important for our organization. I want everybody to see what you guys are doing. We will, to that end, toward the end of the program today, when we give out the New Bedford Way Awards, we'll have some press in the room. So just be mindful of that. That's all. But I think it's important that the public gets a glimpse of the hard work and excellence that is achieved every day in our city. So with all that, let me start off with this. And if I have to phone a friend, that's going to be Sarah Fidelix if I screw anything up. But we'll start right on in. As we've done in years past, I'll call the department head up to say a couple of words. We'll keep it brief. We do need to work our way through the program, and we'll start off at the top of the alphabet. Assessors. Carlos, where are you? So.
I got cold, so I wouldn't have to walk far.
Well done, Carlos. Well done. So we're going to be recognizing Judith Serdall for her 30-year pin. Come on down.
Well, first of all, Judy started as a temporary. She was only there to fill in for someone who was on maternity leave. And that person was having her second child, so she decided not to return, and then 30 years later, she's here. So, so much for temporary jobs. But Judy started in the clerk's office, in the assessor's office as a clerk, as I said, in a temporary position. And in the early 90s, we started doing our own field work. The city started doing their own field work. So Judy became one of the first people that had the job as a data lister that would go out and measure the houses and do all the exterior and interior inspection along with another staff member. And since then, since the mid-90s, we've got a full team of staff, and Judy is an integral part of that because she's in charge of assisting with the evaluation of all real and personal property. She's in charge of the personal property and assisting in the evaluation of all real property. So she's got a lot of responsibility, and she's an integral part of our team. And 30 years, huh?
All right, Carlos, no age jokes here. Then.
No,
All right, so-
no, I can't do any age joke because she's younger than me, so.
Yes. Judy
But-
started when she was 5, of course.
She is now an assistant assessor with the assessing department and continues to work very hard and do a great service for our community, for our city and its citizens. Judy, congratulations. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Carlos. You'll see that we put them in these burlap bags so to keep up with trends, which is kind of cool. So it's not just a plastic case. So next up is cable access. Where's Jim? Oh, Jim will be recognizing today Anne-Marie Lopes and the man behind the camera who must emerge from behind the camera, Ed Camara.
Okay, you guys can come up.
Anne-Marie.
Don't be shy. Come right on up. Ed, come on over. Just keep it a big shot there, big wide shot.
Keep it still.
Keep it steady.
Don't change positions.
I won't move. Kenny's tie expires at 4 o'clock. We got to keep this moving here. Recognizing Anne-Marie and Ed for their 10 years of service. Both of them have a lot of institutional knowledge, which I go to for a lot. They both do special projects. I know Anne-Marie this year was recognized for her piece on the NAACP by the Alliance for Community Media, which is a national organization, so she won an award, which was very, obviously, very important and very great for us. And Ed's won one in the past for his work with the Portuguese Feast. So award winners here, and we are very happy to have them with us here at Cable Access. So congratulations.
Thanks, guys. This one's switched. And they're both identical for 10 years. That's different.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Jim.
Well done, Jim. And this program is brought to you by New Bedford Cable Access. All right. How do you spell CFO? All right, Ari, you're up. You're going to be honoring the person who makes you look good, Sharon Thomas.
Thank you, Mayor. Coming up, Sharon. So, I'd be surprised if 5 people in this room don't know who Sharon is. When I first came to New Bedford 5 years ago, the best thing that the mayor administration did for me was to detail Sharon from the auditor's office to my office. She is such an incredibly integral part of what we do and the way we do it. Her approach and her tone are exactly the approach and tone that we've tried to imbue upon the rest of the finance team and advocate for throughout the organization. She's really all about integrity and customer service and respect, and she has been just a tremendous asset to us. And I'm very, very, very happy to call her a close friend as well. So, Sharon, here you go.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharon. All right, and speaking of auditors, Bob Ekstrom, come on down. We're going to be honoring Jen Vieira and Anna DeBarros, Jen for 5 years and Anna for 10. I like those shoes.
Thank you.
Make sure everybody gets a look at his, what kind of animal is that?
See the snake or alligator?
Snake or-
Oh, let me see. Do I have this on? I don't have this
Just
on.
bring it close to him.
Snake or alligator. My wife got him for me, so you can thank
Yeah, blame
her.
the wife. Blame the wife.
She always gets me shoes that people compliment me on. And, well, I found out in my first week of work that Ari had stolen Sharon from my department. So, that normally would be a big loss, but I tell you, Jen Vieira has just made, it's just incredible. I have to. These kinds of these ceremonies make me realize that she's only been here 5 years. And the institutional knowledge that she has, I've been asking her questions for 3.5 years, and I would swear she's been here 10 or more. It was incredible. We just didn't lose a beat, and those are hard shoes to fill when Sharon leaves your department. But I tell you what, Jen has really stepped up, and she's the next Sharon. So I'd like to thank her for a wonderful. I've been here 3.5 of those 5 years, and you made my job so easy. Thanks so much. And by the way, just so everybody knows who everyone is, so Jen does all of she supervises payroll, accounts payable, and helps me out with numerous other general ledger matters.
Everybody here likes to get paid.
And you can thank Jen and her staff with Sonia. So my next employee, Anna DeBarros, she handles all of our grants and a lot of our chart of accounts work. Anna is great in that when I don't want something to happen, like in the general ledger when so many people want to set up a new fund, I pass that message along to Anna, and she has to carry out those messages. And she never says, Bob won't let me. She just takes it upon herself to convince someone why you don't want a new fund or any of those matters. In her role, she has to work with virtually every department, and it's not just the debits and credits that our office tends to do. Anna has to know the operations of your grants. She has to get in there. She's probably the next best subject matter expert to your own grant administrators. And she does that not just for one department. She does it for every department in the city. It's an incredible job to fill, and she's so detail-oriented. I really appreciated your help, Anna, over these past few years. Thank you so much. Happy 10th anniversary.
Nice job. All right. Well done. Thanks, Bob, for everything. Are those uncomfortable to walk in? They look good. They look good. All right. Don't mean to make fun. It was more uncomfortable for the alligator. All right. So, all right. Next up is the city clerk. I think Dennis. You said Dennis is. So Linda Morad, Council Morad, come on down. And by the way, so we have City Council as well. So I just want to take the occasion to thank City Council President Morad for all of her leadership and support for our city's employees, which has always been a huge priority of hers in her career. And she will be presenting the 30-year award to Maria Brillante, and very, very well deserved. I saw Maria's earlier, but this is a very well deserved award, and I'll just have you take it away.
Do you want to check my shoes?
They are fabulous.
Thank you.
Fabulous.
Maria, can you join me, please? So I know Dennis Farias is really sorry that he can't be here today. I know he's spoken to Sue and to Maria, and they're aware. But if he was here, is he going to hug me later? What do you think? Want to take bets on that, anybody? Anyway, Maria has been in the city clerk's office her entire career in the city of New Bedford for the last 30 years. And Maria is an unbelievable asset to the city clerk's office. Like many of you, Maria just doesn't do the job that is in her job description. She does an awful lot of other things as well. And she does them not only for the city clerk's office, but for the city council's office. And we very much appreciate Maria. We value what she does for the city. Always with a smile, absolutely wonderful customer service in the clerk's office. Many of you have witnessed what goes on in the clerk's office sometimes when someone comes in and they don't want to pay for their dog license, or they don't want to pay for the marriage license, they can be verbally abusive. And Maria takes that along with the other folks in the department and continues to do her job as a smile. A valued employee. We're proud to present a 30-year pin to Maria, and here's to another 30 years.
So you want to take
Yep. All right, so he's going to let me introduce the city council folks as well. So I'd like to begin, please, with, well, actually, I don't see Councilor Gomes. Is he not here? He's not. Okay, so Councilor Gomes today would be receiving his 25-year pin. It's almost unbelievable to believe that an elected official has been continually elected over and over and over to their position for that period of time. But Brian has served the city very well. You know, he has passion and heart about what it is he does. And if he were here, it would be my honor to present this pin to him today. And I ask you to please give him a round of applause for what he does. And I'd like to ask Sue Henrik and Councilor Carney, Councilor Naomi Carney, to join me as well. So many of you know Sue Henrik in the council office. She was born here in the city of New Bedford's office because she doesn't look old enough to be getting a 20-year pin, because you kind of figure that you come to work when you're 18, add 20, 38, But as I said, she was born in the city clerk's office upstairs in the council office, and that's where she is with us. Sue is an outstanding employee as well, and as you know, she and the other people in our city council office are the support for what it is we do every day. And in addition to doing her job, she has to deal with 11 personalities. Sometimes she has to deal with 22 personalities, because some of us are bipolar. And she does a great job. She's a very loyal employee. Her standards of ethics are just unbelievable. And Sue's one of those employees that doesn't hesitate to tell us, no, counselor, you can't do it that way. And that's very important to us, since we always try to go around the beat. So, Sue, congratulations on 20 years, and here's to 20 more. I don't think I'll be here, but good for you. Thank you. And a pleasure to present another pin to a colleague. I see Councilor Leamer standing, taking pictures. I appreciate that. But a colleague on the city council with us, Councilor Naomi Carney. Naomi has come and gone, and now she's been here for at least 5 years. She does an outstanding job representing the people that elect her, and we appreciate having her as a part of our family on the city council, and I congratulate her with a 5-year pin.
All right, thank you, Councilor Moran. So, so over the last couple of weeks, I've been wasting a lot of time watching all these NFL mock drafts, right? So, of course, last night that meant I ended up wasting a lot of time watching the whole first round, because like, who knows what these players turn out to, right? But everybody, it's so hyped up these days. But last night was the first time that there were two brothers drafted in the first round. The Edmonds brothers, who played for Virginia Tech. So I'm reminded of that because today, for the first time, we honored two sisters at this ceremony. Sue and Sharon. Congratulations. I don't know, I'm digressing. I'm on a tangent. I just think they're fabulous. I was telling Sue, I wish you should have invited your father. You should have brought him along. All right, so back to our program. So next up is Michaela, who's going to award folks in the city solicitor's office with their pins. Eric Cohen for 5 years, John Floor for 5 years, Shannon Shreve for 10, and Liz Tredup, PO, for 10. Come on down, Michaela. Never see you anymore.
Thank you, Mayor. Oh, there's Shannon. So The first pin I'm going to award is to Shannon Shreve for his 10-year pin.
Hey, thank you. Congratulations.
Shannon's been with the city for 10 years, but he is a highly seasoned attorney, having served as city solicitor in Taunton for many years. All of our very complex projects, a lot of them we give to Shannon. We really rely on him. He works extensively with DPI, DFFM, purchasing, inspectional services. He is tenacious. He doesn't stop until he gets the right answer. I get many emails at the wee hours of the morning from his wife's address, trying to figuring out an answer. And he also has a great sense of humor and has gifted us with certain vocabulary words such as gizmo and bip bop boop. I still don't really know what bip bop boop means, but it's a good fellow. So thank you, Shannon.
Hello.
Did you take it? I got it. Okay.
Oh, he's got it.
Yeah.
Oh, right in his pocket. Quick.
Our next 10-year pin goes to Elizabeth Treadup PO, and she's been in the solicitor's office just for 1 year, so I feel like I'm sort of cheating by presenting it to her. She's been in the mayor's office for 9 years, but we're so lucky to have Liz. She joined us last year. She's highly intelligent, extremely conscientious, curious, and knows so much and cares so much about the city. So we give her any assignment, she gets not only the right legal answer, but thinks ahead about how best to proceed for the city. So thank you, Liz, for everything. The next pin, a 5-year pin, goes to John Floor. John has made a huge impact in his 5 years of the city. He's the head of the Mayor's Housing Task Force, and in that capacity works with a number of city departments to make New Bedford's neighborhoods better. He manages a team that conducts sweeps throughout the city. They deal with literally hundreds of constituent inquiries a year. And he also is instrumental in getting our ordinances, enacting ordinances that help the city. He was instrumental in the problem properties ordinance. He's also a consummate team player. He works well with everyone across the city, as I said, department heads, city councilors. So thank you, John, for everything. And last but certainly not least, we have Eric Cohen, who is a dual citizen in the solicitor's office and the purchasing office, where he works on compliance issues. In the solicitor's office, Eric handles all of our workers' compensation cases, but he also is ready for any new challenge and has shown a real talent for delving into new sort of ongoing problems and developing processes to address them. With a library, he worked with them to implement procedures to issue no trespass orders. And then most recently, and this is something that's under the radar, during the past year we've gotten a lot of demands from the federal government to pay back literally tens of thousands of dollars to Medicare for certain medical expenses. He has defeated, I think, every single one of them and has, developed a template that's been highly successful. So thank you, Eric, for all that you do.
Thank you very much. Well done, Michaela. Thanks, guys. All right, so next up is community development and planning, and Pat is on a well-deserved vacation, and in his place will be Lori Mooring, who herself will be receiving a 20-year pin. So I can award that to you, so it doesn't look like you're just giving it to yourself. And Eddie Bates will be getting a 5-year pin, which Lori can hand to him. But first of all, I just wanted to say, and where is your pin? Are you bringing your pin up to me? Yeah. Come on up, Lori. Come on up. So Lori has demonstrated tremendous leadership in her time in mastering all of the arcana, and I use that in the most affectionate way, of housing issues, housing programs, and a whole host of other federal and state programs that address the needs of so many folks in our community, and it runs the gamut. But it is, for me, we just had a ribbon cutting this morning, for a project whose success, whose launch is couldn't have happened without Lori's efforts. The long-planned YWCA expansion on South 6th Street, which she has put years into, literally. And she makes, I'll say this in his absence, and he will be the first to admit it, she makes Pat look good, but more importantly, she has helped literally hundreds, if not thousands, of people in the course of her career, and we are so grateful for your expertise and leadership, Lori, over the years. So this is to 20 years and hopefully a lot more.
Thank you.
Eddie, come on up.
Thank you, Mayor, for those kind words, and I know Patrick was sad to not be able to be here today, but he is.
He's happy to be where he is.
He is happy to be where he is, and just the kind of man he is. Knowing this was taking place today, he did just before this call me to wish Eddie and I well, and that's just kind of person that he is. But so I have the honor in Pat's absence to give Eddie Bates his 5-year pin. We've been very lucky to have Eddie as an addition to our department. He acts as the neighborhood planner for us, and in that capacity, he's been able to work with many different departments and neighborhood associations. He also helps to coordinate with the Attorney General, the receivership program, and has been very successful in implementing that program and having a lot of properties come and be revitalized as a result of his efforts. So he's done a great job. He's a great team player. We look forward to many more years with Eddie. He told me before this too, that this is the longest position that he's held. So we hope that will continue.
Your resume's out on the street now?
So we're very lucky to have him. Congratulations, Eddie, and thank you.
Thank you. Hey, don't forget your pin, Lori. After all that. All right. Next up is, my podium's falling apart. Next up is Community Services. Cynthia. Cynthia's not wearing any Yankees regalia today. Thankfully, that was very respectful of the rest of us.
Got the necklace.
Oh, okay. You had to add that. And we're going to be honoring today Olga Rodriguez. Olga's right there. Marcy Pina Christian. So Olga for 5, Marcy for 10, Catherine Ferdadero for 10. And then we have board members of 2 boards. So we have Jeff Costa from the Human Relations Commission and Esperanza Barabee from the Council on Aging.
Great.
Cynthia, take it away.
Okay.
Look at this thing's falling apart on me.
It is.
I thought Sarah had taken care of everything. I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Okay, 5
I'll work on the this needs glue. All right. Yeah. Don't break anything else.
Okay. Olga.
Go ahead.
Olga is the innovator and designer.
Go this way.
Okay. Designer in the office. She's here for 5 years, and in between her duties at Saturday Academy and starting our new Girls Design Academy, she had time to get married last weekend, and she designed her own wedding invitations, centerpieces, and hasn't missed a day of work. So you deserve more than a 5-year pin just for that. So thank you for all you do for all the
Thank you.
Yay, Olga! Yeah, Catherine, come on over.
It's huge.
Catherine started with us. She's here more than 10 years, even though your pin's for 10 years. She started with us when she was in BCC. She started as an InvestiKid site coordinator. We had her through BCC. We had her through UMass. Now she runs all of our grants, and I think we adopted Anna along the way, too, because those two are always working together to make sure that all of our grants get managed, but she's just terrific, and we love her, so yay, Catherine. Marcy.
Oh, Marcy.
Yes. Marcy does everything. She mediates in the community. She mediates in the courts. She does the Human Relations Commission. She just keeps everybody on the first floor doing what they're supposed to do, but she's just a delight. She's great in the community. She represents you a lot.
She does.
And you're just hot stuff. So we just love having you and all you do. So yay, Marcy. There you go.
Congrats, Marcy.
So want Marcy to do Jeff?
Yeah.
While you're up here?
Yeah, you may as well. Go ahead, take it away.
So the Human Relations Commission, the purpose of the commission is to promote peace and harmony among residents within the community. And I can't think of an individual who better embodies that than Jeff Costa. Many of you know Jeff, probably have taken some of his classes. He's a yoga instructor. So Jeff just brings the peace with him wherever he goes. He's a light. And it's such a pleasure having you as a part of the commission and working with you. So I am thrilled to present you with your 5-year pin and hope that you will stay on board for many more years to come.
Come on, Deb.
Thanks.
Come on up.
I have here Esperanza Alejandro Berabi, and I probably butchered the name, but I try real hard. Esperanza is on our Council on Aging board, and unlike most of us in the room, this is a volunteer position, so it's very much.
She deserves a raise.
She deserves a raise. It will double her salary. It's double her nothing. But she is great for us. The Council on Aging board is a great support to us. Esperanza specifically helps to keep us and maintain us mindful of cultural diversity in the city, to make sure that we keep aware of that, and that we always help those folks who are out there, every folk who is out there, but especially to help us to keep us mindful of that. And so she's got 5 years today, and we're very excited about that, and we're hoping for at least another 5 years more. So thank you, Esperanza.
Thank you. Well done. Well done. Well done. All right, our routine is almost, we almost have it down pat. All right. So, where's Mark McGraw? Mark, where are you? Come on down, Mark. We're going to do EMS now. And we have two folks. Bernice Fortier is getting her 10-year pin. And a gentleman who's been honored a number of times for his work publicly, Lacey Gomes, for 30 years. Where is Lacey?
Lacey was unable to make it today. He had a family emergency.
Oh, okay, that's unfortunate. Well, take it away then.
Thank you, ma'am. I just wanted to give a shout out to Lacey. He's been with us for 30 years. I think everybody in the room probably knows him. I have had the fortune of working with him for 12 years as a partner, crammed in a 4x6 cab of a truck. You really get to know somebody, and he is truly the salt of the earth. If he's not the most interesting man in the city, he is definitely the most well-known. Everybody knows him. I just want to say thank you for your 30 years of service, Lacey. And our second paramedic being honored today is Bernice Fortier. She's getting 10 years. I remember when Bernice started. She came from the town of Carver. I was a street supervisor at the time, so I've had the fortune of seeing her grow, and from being a new paramedic to becoming a really good, great paramedic. She is somebody I can go to that I know is reliable, and if I want to get the job done right, I call Bernice, and she's also the unofficial departmental party planner. We have a retirement, so 10 years, Bernice Fortier. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Okay, all right, so next up is Michelle Paul. Where's Michelle? Oh, there you are. Bring up your own pin, Michelle. So, thank you for that. I'll be returning it to you momentarily. So Michelle, as all of you know, is the Director of Resilience and Environmental Stewardship. So some of you may know her as the Director of Environmental Stewardship. We changed her title a couple of years ago to reflect a far broader mission for her and her office that is all-encompassing and all about dealing with the effects of climate change and preparing the city for anything that comes its way. And it's a very weighty title and weighty responsibility. And there are two things that I can observe about that. One is that, you give more work to the people who are capable of carrying it out and doing it really well. And so that was an easy decision for me in redefining the office, because she's done such an exemplary job as environmental steward in overseeing site cleanups around the city and making sure that the city, those projects which are all so complicated, are moving forward, and that the city's getting the funding it needs to make that happen. And now her responsibility is even broader, and she's jumped right in. It's a job that encompasses not only what she was doing before, but also a whole host of leading a whole host of planning efforts all around the city, especially near the water, dealing with all manner of departments along the way. And it really requires, to be successful, it requires someone who has a deep technical expertise, which she has, great leadership skills, and an ability just to get along with everybody. She's got all that in spades, and so I'm just so grateful that she's doing the work that she's doing, because one of the biggest challenges, the city has a number of challenges, as we know, but two of them are that we've got a lot of contaminated sites from a very long industrial legacy, and we're also a city by the sea in an age when sea levels are rising, and that's staring us in the face as well. And I wouldn't want to have anybody else in the position of preparing ourselves for that and also dealing with those sites than Michelle Paul. So Michelle, 5 years, I can't believe it's been 5 years, but I'm so grateful for everything you've done.
Thank you very much. It's been my pleasure. Thank you.
There you go. Sarah, I really like this idea of people bringing their pins up to me, because they'll just otherwise get lost by me. All right. Next up is the fire department. Paul Cordair is here for the chief, the deputy chief. Come on down. And we're going to be recognizing Dan Coons today for 10 years and Anthony Puente for 20. Come on down, guys. Take it away, Paul.
How you doing?
How are you?
Doing
Good to see you.
Hey, Mr. Blanchard, how are you?
Mr. Blanchard.
It's the only one I get that from.
Yeah, as you can see, firefighter Puente here is he has a big personality. He's one of the bigger personalities we have here on the fire department. He's always in a good mood. He's always smiling. And it's been a pleasure, Ant.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure with you.
Firefighter Puente is a member of Ladder 3, which runs out of Station 6, which is on Potomska Street. And he's also an avid member of the SAFE program, which teaches children throughout the city of fire safety. So whether if he's in the Sparky dog suit or he's in his gear crawling around with the children, he's always happy to do so, and he does so with a smile. So I thank you for your efforts.
Thank you very much.
And Puente will be getting his 20-year pin today.
Yeah, take it. Wait, give it to him.
Next up, we have Lieutenant Daniel Coons. He's also from Ladder 3, which runs out of the Potomska Street Station. Dan will be receiving his 10-year pin today, and he was promoted to lieutenant in 2017. But in 2016, Lieutenant Coons received an award accommodation for the city for successfully reviving a 9-year-old boy. So thank you for your efforts, Dan.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. All right. Next up is the new guy, Damone Chaplin. Come on down. You know, I hope someone gave him some guidance about this. He's new to town. I think a lot of you have already met Damone, but he's already jumped in with both feet as the health director. He's doing a bang-up job, and he is thankfully supported by a lot of really talented people and a lot of dedicated people. And as you'll soon hear, a number of folks who've been in the system for a long time and have done great work. So Sophia DaCosta will be getting a 5-year pin today. Ann Gagney, 30 years. Sandy Manning, 30 years. And Rosemary Tavares, 30 years. Great stuff.
I'd like to thank the mayor.
Sandy. You're good. You just have to hold it close to you.
Sorry.
I'd first like to thank the mayor for the introduction and to thank all of you in the room who have supported my onboarding for the last 90 days. It's been fast, it's been a fire hose, but it's been enjoyable, and I really have to say I'm probably the luckiest man in the room to inherit such a great crew to help me get through the first 90 days. So I'd like to say thank you to you all. Today we have Sophia, Rosie, Ann, and Sandy. You've all been so instrumental in helping me get to our first all-staff meeting, which was successful. Rosie, you were part of the interview team when I first came here, and I mentioned in the all-staff meeting, you gave me that glare, and I knew that you guys are down to business to get my stuff together. And so I want to thank you for your kindness and compassion and the work that you do. Sophia, we went in the field together and immediately recognized your enthusiasm and attention to detail and interest in learning and doing more. So I want to thank you as well. And your expertise and the work that you carry along with the lead program. I want to thank you. Your name travels far. People told me good things about you when I got here, and they're all very true. So I want to thank you. And to Sandy, exemplary of strength and support and integrity. When I first came to the department, I was informed that Sandy would be going out on medical leave and to have some surgery done, and I was concerned, and so I reached out to her, and then, not more than 6 weeks later, she comes in with sneakers on and a sweatsuit saying, "I'm ready to go back to work," and I couldn't believe it. And so it definitely exemplifies your level of strength and integrity and the glue of holding this team together. And so I want to thank you so much for helping me out and supporting me. Oh, and I forgot the pins.
Lucky error. Lucky mistake.
With all of that. Thank you. And so with that, I'd like to present the 30-year award to, 30-year award to Rosie. The 5-year award to Sophie. The 30-year award to Ann. And the last but not least, the 30-year award to Sandy.
Thank you.
Nice job. All right, thanks, John. Nice job. Thanks, guys. All right. So next up is the library, and I'll ask Olivia Mello to come on up. We have Sonia Clackus, who's getting a 10-year pin, and Russ Ramos. I didn't see Russ. He couldn't make it for 10 years. And then a long-time real long time, member of the Library Board of Trustees, everybody's good friend, Carl Cruz.
So it's my pleasure this afternoon to present a 10-year award to Sonia. For those of you who don't know who Sonia is, let me tell you a little bit about her. Sonia is our cataloging librarian. She works in what we call as a technical services department. She's responsible for cataloging all of the books, all of the fiction books that get put into the shelves and also get put into the database that we share with the sales library, within the sales library network. Sonia is one of those employees that takes tremendous pride in what she does because she knows that when she's doing the data entry of the books, it's not just how our patrons in New Bedford are going to see it, it's going to be how the libraries throughout the southeastern area are going to see it. And catalogers are very difficult on each other. They don't like to have somebody put in a data entry that's incorrect because they will call you out on it to the network, right, Sonia? They will let sales know that there's a mistake that's been made. So Sonia takes a lot of pride in making sure that what she enters is correct so that New Bedford doesn't get called out for not doing the work properly. So she takes tremendous pride in her work and always motivated to learn new techniques to get the work done faster. And she is responsible for cataloging everything from picture books for the children.
From 0 age to 100.
Right, so, I like to say there's everything from picture books to anything on, like Harry Potter, to the 3 Shades of Grey, to the Great Gatsby. Anything like that goes through Sonia's hands.
Oh, see, the 3 Shades of Grey?
Isn't it 3 Shades of Grey?
Oh, I don't know.
I thought it was 50.
Oh, that's how much I know as a librarian, right? Oh, my God.
Not that I've read it.
So you know better than I do, because I haven't read the books. You're right, 50 Shades of Grey.
Now we know you haven't read that book.
I've never read the books.
You're pretending. You've read them all.
Oh, goodness, yeah. I'm the librarian that doesn't read a book. I don't have time to read. So anyway, thank you, Sonia, for all that you do and for handling all of those books. And the other 10-year pin was for Russell Ramus. Some of you will know Russell. He worked at Circulation for 9 years, and now he's in the reference department. And Russell has been the person that is the first contact when people come into the library. He's the greeter. He's the welcoming committee for anybody that comes in. And over the past year, he's transferred up to the reference department where he's taken his people skills from what he was doing in circulation, and now he's doing it in reference. And he's not here today because we were shorthanded in reference, so he's there covering the desk, because if he wasn't there, we wouldn't have a body to help people with the computers or the faxes or the photocopiers, or the many odd questions we get throughout the day, anything from something in an obituary to what was the weather like on this day in 1987, and that's the kind of question that Russell is helping people with. So now it brings me to an auspicious moment for me. So I'm going to be presenting the 30-year pin to longtime trustee Carl Cruz, and I've known Carl for a long time, and I have to say that Carl is the biggest advocate that the New Bedford Library has. He has a passion for that library. He believes in that library. And over the last 3 years of reworking with Carl again, it's been an absolute pleasure and an honor to have him at my side as we try to develop the library into a library of the 21st century. I do have Carl's support for all of my shenanigans that I'm planning, I think, right?
Well, you do.
I'm admitting to it now.
It's on tape now.
It's on tape. So we've had a very interesting and fun and fast 3 years, and here's hoping to us working together for quite a few more years.
Not 30, but a few more. All right, so next up is licensing, and in this case, the entire department is getting a pin. So, Nick, where are you? So Nick is going to get a 15-year pin, and Honoria White is getting a 30-year pin. So let me speak for a moment about Nick, and I will start with a vignette from something just all of a few days ago, I guess, Monday. Today's what, Friday? So earlier this week. So I had ABCC head for the entire region was at a press conference that we were doing to sensitize people around the risks of drunken driving. This was just Monday. You might have seen it in the paper on Tuesday. And as soon as the guy I hadn't met before, he was standing next to me at the press conference. I'm like, who's this guy? Yeah, but I came up to him. I went up to him later, and he said, I'm from ABCC, and I work, all around the state, and I got to tell you something. So just so you know, Nick is the best. He is the best in the state at what he does. He makes it so easy on me. He makes it. When we have people who are in similar positions, counterparts in other parts of the state, and they ask, who should I, model myself after? Maybe, well, you should go talk to the guy in New Bedford. That's Nick, and we drink a lot here in New Bedford. I'll be the first to admit I'm one of them. And you need people. You need somebody in Nick's position to keep everything running right, to be legal, to make sure that it's consistent with the community needs, that is friendly toward business development. Nick does all that stuff behind the scenes. So it really is, my pleasure to award him his 15-year pin, which I hope he brought up with him. Yes, he did.
If you don't mind, I'm really not a public speaker, so I'll leave that to the professionals. But just so you know, Jack Carey came by my office
His name. Yes.
Before he went by to see you, and I gave him 20.
Good.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for hosting this event. I'd also like to thank the city officials that are here, and if I miss anybody, I apologize, but Councilor Morad, Councilor Carney, Councilor Lima, who took time out of their busy schedule today to work, to be here to honor those that are being honored today. I think that's very important to see the elected officials here in support of the people that do the day-to-day work of making New Bedford a better city every day, and it's appreciated. As you all know, licensing is a small two-person office. One constant in the office for the past 30 years has been Honorina White, or as you all know her, as Rena. From the first day I came to work for her, work with her 15 years ago, Rena has always carried out her duties as a public servant in a manner that I call the Rena Way, which mirror the values that have become the New Bedford Way. Lastly, in her 30 years of service, Rena has never taken a sick day. She has shown up every day, has done so in a manner reflective of the New Bedford Way. One last thing, Rena is also a Yankee fan.
Well, we have some of that.
So I must say, when the Red Sox were 17-2, I thought a sick day was coming. So if it didn't happen then, I think Rena may retire undefeated without taking a sick day, because at 17-2, she wasn't a happy camper. But Rena, thank you so much for what you do. Again, it's a small two-person office, and I know what you do. I know the mayor knows what you do, and I thank you.
All right, this next one I think is a department that has not been called up in a while, and you'll get why in a second. It's the mayor's office. So this year, marking 5 years are Christine Arsenault, Neil Mello, and 10 years, Christina Connolly. So guys, come on up. And by the way, I'm honored for 5 years. All right. So there's got to be a pin here for me somewhere. All right. So there's a lot to be said here, and I don't want to. I'm very blessed to have a very, very talented team that wakes up all three of them, and plus Kat and John and Sylvia, who get up every morning and think, what can I do for the city? And that is the first thought in their heads, and it's the last thought in their heads when they go to bed every night. And I have been blessed to have been able to keep the team together for as long as we have. And I tell people this, and I tell other mayors this sometimes to their annoyance. We have the most talented mayor staff in America. We do. And it's making a difference for the city. And I just really wanted to take the occasion to thank all three of them. Christine as our Assistant Chief of Staff, Neil as my Chief of Staff, and Christina as Assistant Chief of Staff and now Chief Operating Officer of the city, formerly in community development. That's how we get to the 10 years for Christina. But it's they're very talented. They work really hard. They care about what you guys are doing and want to put you guys in positions to succeed. And we're going to keep it all going. So I just want to thank all three of them for their dedication, their hard work, their perseverance, and their willingness to do whatever they can to make the city a better place. All right, now get back to work. No. How's that? All right. So next up is the police. Where are you? Derek Belong, Captain Belong, come on down. That was said with affection, not derision. So the chief and the deputy chief couldn't be here today, so Captain Belong, who does a fabulous job, is going to award Brian Crosby and Kathleen Niemer with their 5-year pins. Captain.
Thank you, Mayor.
Nice job.
Thank you, Mayor. Congratulations to everyone that's getting an award today and all your tenure here. I have 2 employees with me. I have Brian and Kathleen. So I'll start with Brian. Brian's getting 5 years today. I was fortunate back in 2012 when we hired Brian. Brian was assigned to me when I was a sergeant on the midnight shift. He came from the sheriff's department. Like I say, he's been here 5 years. He now works midnights in the North End. He does a fantastic job. I would ask for no one better to come to my house if you have an issue. He's strong, he's courageous. He's been in quite a few incidents within the police department, out in the streets where he saved some lives and done some wonderful things for us. And I'm proud to honor this to you today and give you this 5-year award, Brian. So thank you. So as the mayor said, the chief couldn't be here. He's on vacation. He's probably emailing me right now, most likely. The deputy's at a graduation. We got 4 new officers graduating today. For those who don't know Kathleen, I would consider Kathy to be the real boss of headquarters. She is the chief secretary. Kathleen's getting a 5-year award today, but more importantly is Kathleen's actually worked for the city for about 12 years now. She was hired in 1997, and she worked in various positions at City Hall till 2009 when she was laid off. She was then rehired and became our detail clerk in 2012. So although that's sad news, she's probably one of the few that has more than one 5-year pin. So Kathy and I work close together because I work at headquarters normally, so her and I spend a lot of time together, and I would consider her to be the real prize up at headquarters. And Kathleen, thank you for more than your 5 years of service.
Thank you.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Nice job. All right, next up are your hosts, the zoo. Keith is out of town, I believe, with work-related matters, so Shara, come on down. We are going to be honoring Casey Silva, with his 5-year pin, and Victoria Morad for 10.
Thank you. Keith could not be here. He is in Austria at the moment, getting ready to host an international waterfowl convention. By getting ready, I mean he's getting ready at Beer Garden in Austria. If he was here today, he'd be receiving his 5-year pin as well. And anybody that's worked with Keith knows he's very passionate. He's a huge bunny hugger, in truth. He's known as the duck guy. And waterfowl is one of his passions. So as you walk through the zoo, you'll see there are ducks everywhere at the moment. I'm honored today to honor one of the people that truly makes this zoo look good, and he had nothing to do with the construction of this podium. Because if he did, it would be overbuilt, which is what Keith would say if he was here. Anything Casey touches is built to last, it's quality. He truly has made this facility look good. If you get a chance to walk through Rainforest Rivers and Reefs, there's nothing in there that Casey didn't have a hand in. He's truly a city asset. I've had the pleasure of working with Casey for much longer than 5 years. He's come full circle. He came through a youth organization when I started here back in the 90s. And I didn't know that when I rehired him, but I'm glad I did. So Casey, congratulations. Person I'm honoring today has been with the city for 10 years, although she has only been at the zoo for 2. We stole her away from Veterans Affairs. She's been with the city a long time. She is one of those people that's in a position that is sort of a catch-all. She's our senior accounts clerk, Victoria Morad, but she does much more than that. She handles our payroll, our accounts receivable. She works with our cashiers on a daily basis. She serves as the nursery for all of Keith's ducklings as they come in. So very shortly, if you were to come visit us, you're going to find tanks in there with all sorts of little ducklings running around. She's always got a smile on her face, serves the city well. She's another employee that makes us look good. So congratulations, Victoria.
All right, thanks, Sarah. Thanks, guys. All right. So you might have thought, well, Z is for zoo, so we're at the end, but we're not. It's all right, more to come. So next up is MIS, Maria Pina Rocha. Where's Maria?
Right here.
You're hiding. You're hiding on me. And she will be awarding Cynthia Sylvia with a 40 pin. Pretty good.
Hello. Cindy started with the city in 1976.
I know you weren't born yet.
She started as a junior clerk in the purchasing department. Shortly after her start with the purchasing department, she went over to the emergency medical services department for 16 years, working as a senior medical records librarian. From there, she went over to the assessor's office to work with Carlos's team, and she was a senior clerk there. This is where I met Cindy. Cindy was very instrumental in transitioning the assessor's office from paper to the appraisal software system that they use today. After 5 years in the assessor's office, we stole her in MIS. We recognized her talents, me and Rob, and we set out to make her a part of our team. She started as a computer operator. Then she went to the computer operator support specialist, then to the administrative assistant, then to a systems analyst, and to now a senior systems analyst. She's a very important member of the implementation team in MIS. She works within the Munis environment and the Lucity environment. She is also responsible for the system administration in these systems. Her experience in the assessor's office, And the EMS office also makes her a very instrumental player for the Assess Pro and Ambu Pro systems. She is a prime example of the New Bedford way. She continues to improve. She had 8 positions. Her innovation is shown when she customizes and configures the system in Lucity and Munis to make things more efficient for the users and the city. Her teamwork is not just in the MIS office, it's also, excuse me, in the workforce. So she helps out so many departments. Her accountability, she is another person that takes very few days off. Her integrity and her respect is most quality. She is respected and gives respect. It is my honor to give her her 40-year pin.
All right. Next up is DPI. Jamie, where are you? I know you guys are right in front. And he's got a few. He's got a tray full of things to bring up.
So seeing I have 20 people, I'll try to keep it brief. It's befitting the first person on the list is somebody that is usually the first person that any of you would talk to when you call DPI. It's Donna Amato. So Donna was hired as an account clerk in 2012. She was promoted to clerk of the works in the same year. And then in 2017, she was promoted to her current position as administrative manager, where she is involved in just about everything we do. I'm sure everybody in this room has talked to Donna at one time or another. So it's hard to believe that Donna's only been here for 5 years. So congratulations. So next on the list is Sean Braz. Sean was hired in December of 2012 as a hoisting equipment operator. He was promoted in 2013 to SMEO, and he was promoted to 2017 to his current position as Mason, which everybody in the room probably knows that the DPI Masons do a heck of a job, including Sean. So congratulations on your 5-year thing. All right. Shane Dumont was hired on 2012 as a pipe fitter. I had the opportunity of working with Shane for years, side by side. He's been since promoted to the position of storekeeper in 2017, and he's doing a great job ordering our supplies and keeping us moving with everything that we need to do on a daily basis. So congratulations to Shane. Stephanie Dupras. So Stephanie was hired in 2012 as a project coordinator. In 2014, she was promoted to clerk of the works, and in 2016, she was promoted to her current position as engineering supervisor. Stephanie's another one. It's hard to believe she's only been here for 5 years. Engineering does a lot. There's a lot of projects going on in the city, and she's involved in every single one of them. So congratulations, Stephanie. Jasmine Gomes. Jasmine was hired. Jasmine was hired in 2012 as a clerk typist. In the same year, she was promoted to account clerk. In 2015, she was promoted to her current position as principal clerk. She's found a home in accounts payable, and she's a go-to person amongst that staff. So, and while I'm surprised that Donna and Steph have only been here for 5 years, I'm surprised Jasmine is too, just in a different way. But I kid. Congratulations, Jasmine. Dennis Lawrence. So Dennis was hired as a pipe fitter in 2012, and he was promoted to the position of welder in 2016, where he's continued to do a great job and improve daily for the department, involved in many projects around the city, and doing a great job. So congratulations to Dennis on his 5-year term. Eric Rebello. So Eric was hired in 2012 as a sewer plant maintenance person. In 2018, he was promoted to his current position as the working foreman in the water division. So Eric oversees a lot of the water meter repairs and replacements, and he oversees that crew, the shut-offs, and deals with a lot of stuff for us. So doing a great job at that. Glad to have him. And congratulations on your 5-year term. Joshua Vaughn.
Nickname Tiny?
That's right. So Josh was hired in 2012 as a sewage plant maintenance person, and he was promoted in 2017 to his current position as water machinery repairman. So I had the privilege of working with Josh also in the field for years, and it's nice to see Josh have moved up, and he takes care of a lot of the equipment that everybody takes for granted, the things that keep everything, the water pumping, the sewer pumping, everything. Josh is a maintenance guy that keeps that going, so we appreciate his effort, and congratulations to Josh on his 5 years. Jack Custodio. Sorry. So Jack was hired in 2007 as an SMEO, which is his current position, and I also had the privilege of working alongside Jack. And what I could tell you about Jack is he was an absolute animal out there. If something needed to be done, Jack would dig in. He'd be the first one in saying, "Get out of the way, I'm going to get this done." So I appreciate everything Jack's done for the department, and congratulations to Jack on his 10-year there. All right. Ron Fuller. He's not here? He stepped out? Okay. Sean Martin. Sean is a Red Sox fan.
Thank you.
So Sean was hired in 2007 as a pipe fitter, and he was promoted in 2013 to the hoisting equipment operator, and he operates mainly the camera truck, the CCTV truck that films all of the sewer and storm pipes in the city, provides detailed reports, helps steer some of the work that we do towards the needed areas, and we integrated to a new system. Sean was a big part of that, and it went pretty smooth, so I'd like to thank Sean for that. He does a great job on the camera truck. This is a 10-year pin. David Nieves. So David was hired in 2007 as a cemetery maintenance worker. He was promoted in 2012 to SMEO, and in 2016 he was promoted to his current position as street and sewer construction foreman. I was the superintendent of the division at the time, and I'm glad that I made that decision. David has taken ownership of the position and takes it personal, very personal, and gets a great amount done for the department, oversees the street sweeping side of things as well, and you know, I'm grateful to have him in his position. So congratulations, David, on your 10-year pin. João Pimentel. So João was hired in 2007 as a cemetery maintenance worker. In 2013, he was promoted to his current position. And João's assigned to rural cemetery, where he basically oversees the daily operations there. And he does a great job of that. They rely on him. We rely on him quite a bit. So congratulations on your 10-year pin. Robert Vicente. So Bob was hired in 2007 by DFFM as an MEO. In 2013, he was transferred to DPI. In 2016, he was promoted to Waterworks utility man, where he cared for much of the groundskeeping and maintenance at the Quiticus water treatment plant. In 2018, I'm sorry, he was promoted to his current position of storekeeper, where he's integrated very quickly and once again keeps us going on a daily basis, purchasing all our supplies, making sure we have everything we need to keep the department moving forward. So congratulations on your 10-year pin. Anna Rosa. So Anna worked as a junior city engineer at City Hall starting in '99. In 2007, she became a DPI assistant civil engineer. In 2014, Anna was promoted to clerk of the works, and in 2017, she was promoted to her current position of civil engineer. So Anna does a lot of things that it's behind the scenes things nobody sees, researching deeds and titles and addresses, and she has a corner in there, paperwork everywhere, and without her, everything stops. So congratulations, Anna, on 15 years.
She's going to be back here next year for 20 years.
She had 3 years
Oh,
in between.
oh,
She had 3 years off in between.
Oh, all right, that explains it.
Ricardo Soares. Ricardo was hired in 2002 as a park maintenance worker. In 2013, he came over to DPI and currently holds the same position. Ricardo, you may have seen removing snow from the sidewalks, combing the beaches, and doing some of the bigger tasks that we ask of the park guys. He's one of the instrumental go-to guys on that side, and does a great job for us. We rely on him heavily. So thank you, and congratulations on your 15-year. Jerry Angelini. So Jerry was hired in '97 as an SMEO 1A, and in 2009 he was promoted to his current position as working foreman. Most people in the room would probably know Jerry, as he's one of those people that does everything. If I was to try to tell you, it'd be easier to tell you what Jerry doesn't do than does do. He's out there in heavy equipment all the time, helping every department in here and just getting it done. We rely on Jerry immensely. So congratulations on your 20-year pin. Cheryl Simos Wente. Well, Cheryl was hired in '97 as a clerk typist, and in 2005 she was promoted to account clerk, and in 2007 she was promoted to her current position as principal clerk. So Cheryl does everything out front. She deals with the public every day, and accounts receivable, and the repair shop. She's learned everything, and wherever we need her, she goes and she gets it done. So I'd like to congratulate her on her, let's see, on her 20-year pin. And last but not least, Manny Rose. So Manny was hired in 1977 as a water systems maintenance worker, and in 1986 he was promoted to his current position of water construction foreman. I'd like to tell you what Manny does, but I'm not really sure. Once again, is somebody that's done everything. Anything we need done, Manny knows where things are in the city that aren't on the maps. We look at the map, we say we're going to dig over here. Manny says it's not over there, it's over there. We dig it up, no, Manny was right, it's over there. So his institutional knowledge is unmatched. He's an invaluable resource for the department. I'm glad to have worked with him. He's been great to me right along, and I'm honored to give him his 40-year pin. and he told me a little while ago he's got 40 more years to go. So. Thanks.
All right, thank you, Jamie. So last among the departments, and then we'll go into the our handful of awards, is DFFM. And so as much as I like to kid Ken, I just want to take the occasion to thank him for the memories. So as many of you know, Kenny is retiring after, it's not a pin year for you, so it's not a round number. 39, yes. But it's close to, you don't want to stay one more year to get your 40th pin? Look what Manny just did. So
Anyway.
okay, all right. But Ken has been fabulous, and he took over the department 6 years ago now. No, 5 years. It's been feels like.
2013.
Yeah, so five years now, and oversaw a very complex transition to the department now known as DFFN, the Department of Facilities and Fleet Management. And it is hugely effective now, thanks to the hard work of the employees of the department and to Ken's leadership. It's really been extraordinary to see from my standpoint, and Ken stepped up in such a huge way and has been so effective, and the city's so much better off for it. I mean, you see it when you walk into buildings, you see it with the condition of the fleet, you see it, in what we're paying in the way of maintenance and fleet upkeep. It's more efficient than ever before. And I'm going to miss Ken, but he's not going to miss us. He's going to be on the vineyard an awful lot. But don't forget us. It's not that far away. It's just a boat ride away, Ken. So anyway, come on up, and we'll be honoring a number of folks in DFFM, including one special honoree that we will save until the end.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bob, do those come in wide? Those shoes? I like those. Yeah. Goes with the tie. I like those. All right, so we'll start out. Warren Bernier. So Warren Bernier is a very important part of our custodial staff. He takes care of buildings in the South End, the community center at Fort Tabor, cable access. I know Jim Marshall has a great appreciation for Warren, and also the Hazelwood Senior Center. And I get an awful lot of compliments about Warren's work weekly. So I want to congratulate Warren and say thank you very much.
Thank you.
Olivia De Silva, another important part of our staff, the custodial staff. Olivia takes care of the main library. I know Maria is very proud of the way the library looks. Olivia, I'm sorry, I said Maria, I'm sorry. Sorry about that. She takes care of the main library and also the McCoy Gym. Both very, very busy buildings. The public in and out of there all the time. The McCoy Gym is a real challenge, I know. But Olivia does a wonderful job for us. Thank you very much, Olivia. John Kumar.
The last time I saw a man kiss every single woman in the room was Richard Dawson of Family Feud.
Survey says.
So you can see John Kumar is very quiet and reserved. He likes to fly under the radar. John Kumar is one of our very talented tradespersons. He's a carpenter, pays attention to detail. He recently did a wonderful job down at the Military Museum, which I know is near and dear to John's heart. He built some cabinets down there to display the firearms down there. If you get a chance, check him out. He did a really good job. Built them from scratch. It was a real pleasure. I know he enjoyed that job. It's a real pleasure to have John working for us. Thank you, John. These are all 5-year employees, by the way. I don't know if I said that or not. Maria Vieira. Maria Vieira, another part of our custodial team, takes care of the Quest Center and also 1204 Purchase Street. If any of you have been in 1204 Purchase Street recently, you know how hard it is to keep that building in nice shape. It's an old building, as most of our buildings are. Sorry. Maria does a wonderful job for us day in and day out. I get a lot of phone calls again about Maria's work. We appreciate the work she does. 5 years, Maria. Thank you. Tom DeSilva. Tom DeSilva is a diesel engine repairman in the central garage. Day in and day out, challenged to keep our vehicles on the road, especially in the wintertime. No job that Tom can't handle. I know Jeff and Carlos before him relied on Tom heavily. He does a great job for us in the garage. Thanks, Tom. So the saying goes, when one door closes, another one opens, and this is true. This next person, Roy Sergi, came to us from Polaroid when Polaroid closed. Their loss was truly our gain. Roy came over. He was a heavy equipment operator. He ran the transfer station for us for a number of years. I'd go up to visit once in a while, and I'd see Roy in the loader, and we'd chat. The place was pristine. Never a bit of litter. The grass was always well manicured. Roy did a wonderful job for us. He has since moved down to City Yard. He is now the storekeeper in the City Yard. A lot of people now refer to him as Sarge because no one leaves there without something that they didn't originally ask for. There's no extras in the stock room anymore with Roy there. So I want to thank Roy for all he's done. 10 years for Roy Sergi. Thank you. Mo Vazina. Mo Vazina, another one of our carpenters. As a matter of fact, I'm sure he'll be taking a look at the pedestal here, this podium when we're done. Mo Vazina is talented again, very detail-oriented. He does great work. Nick relies on him heavily. He's also the president of AFSCME. And in that role, I have to say, in that role, he applies great common sense. We've been in meetings with him. It's good to sit across the table from Mo, and it's great to have him in our carpenter shop again. We appreciate the work he does. Thank you, Mo. Ed Gadapy. Ed's getting his 20-year pin. He originally started in the fire garage. He's done extraordinary work. There has always been a lot of pressure on the guys that work on fire apparatus, emergency vehicles for obvious reasons. Ed has stepped up. He's gone for numerous training seminars. He's done a wonderful job. He's the go-to guy as far as fire apparatus repair. I know Jeff relies on him heavily, as do I in Jeff's absence. We appreciate the work he does. Thank you, Ed. Mike Souza. Mike is another diesel engine repairman who also works on emergency vehicles.
Mike works out of the police garage. Working out of the police garage, very sensitive area. You have to be extremely trustworthy, extremely efficient. Mike is both. He's been in the police garage for a number of years. He works well with all of the fellow employees. He's a very talented mechanic, and we're very lucky to have him here. Thank you. Suzanne White. So as you can see, Suzanne is currently on the inactive list. She had some repairs done. She'll be back at it soon. Suzanne's been with the city for more than 20 years. She takes care of the downtown police station and the Anthony Cotojo building, which to many of you is the art museum. She does wonderful work. She's out there in snowstorms. Anytime we need something, pick up the phone. We can count on Suzanne to get it done. She was at City Hall for quite a while. I'm sure many of you know her from there. But she's an asset to the city. She has been for more than 20 years, and we look forward to another 20 years from Suzanne. Thank you very much. Next 25-year employee is Tony Mr. Clean Silva. So Tony's been in a number of capacities in his career. I know he was in the forestry division at City Yard. He was in the engineering division at Public Works. He ran the carpenter shop for us for a while. He currently runs the code enforcement division. The mayor dubbed him Mr. Clean because Tony, and I have to say the work that Tony does is far more than code enforcement on the street. Tony prepares well and he prepares hard. He's in housing court every Thursday morning, and sometimes he's in small claims court on Thursday afternoon. Wednesday evenings, once a month, are taken up at City Hall on appeals for people who have received trash violations. Tony's always there. He's well prepared for his position. He studies. He knows the ordinances. The people that work for him enjoy working for him. He's a great supervisor. And again, he's an asset to the city. Thank you, Tony. Okay, this is hard to do because he's a Yankee fan, but
Another one.
yeah. So Ronnie Harrison. Ronnie Harrison. Ronnie Harrison started with the city in 1968. I think that was the year after the Red Sox won the pennant, right? Is that what? Just saying.
Miracle year.
Yeah. So he started in 1968. He started at the incinerator, as it was called. Well, actually, yeah, it was the incinerator, and it was actually under the purview of the Board of Health at the time, I believe. Right. And Ronnie started out as a puller, or it was one of his jobs at the time. It was pulling. And what they used to do is they would go to houses, and sadly I remember this, and they would take your garbage cans out to the street for you. So the city would do that for you, and then the truck would come by and empty them. Did the city put them back too? The city put them back too? No. Not that we want to give anybody any ideas, but can you imagine? So the city had pullers out, so Ronnie did that. Ronnie worked up at the incinerator, the landfill, and ultimately a transfer station for 40 years. Then he came down to City Yard. He again was part of Roy's team at the transfer station. Again, the place was meticulous. It was a transfer station. By design, it's supposed to have litter all over the place, and it was just meticulous when these guys cared for it. Roy was telling a story earlier where a couple of years ago, one of the power mowers broke down, and instead of Ronnie calling for a new power mower, they found an old walk-behind manual mower with the blades, and Ronnie cut the grass up there with the manual mower with the blades. And if you've ever been up there, the inclines, the hills up there are just off the charts. So that's the kind of stuff that Ronnie does, and he's still doing it. And he works circles around people that are half his age. And it's a shame, but Ronnie is put in for retirement as of June 30th. So Ronnie's leaving us June 30th. But I remember being here with him a few years ago, 4 or 5 years ago. He got his 40-year pin. At the time, he said, I'm going for 50. And here he is, you know, getting his 50-year pin. I just think it's amazing. 50 years in one place is a long time. Thank you. Thanks.
Chris Kemp. We're going to start the 50 more year chant. 50 more years.
Wait, I forgot somebody.
Hey, you always save the best for last.
Oh. Thanks, Tony. Covered for me again. Listen, yeah, and it's funny. John and I were together for a good part of the morning today, and we were kidding each other about the pin ceremony, you know, and then I'm standing over there, and John said, you know, when I come up, can I give you a hug? And I said, no, absolutely, you can't give me a hug. We don't hug. And then I forget to give him his pin. That's because I'm afraid he's going to hug me. Stay there, I'll throw it. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. How could I forget? John Pereira, again. This is why I'm retiring. See, I forget. I'm so sorry, John. Listen, I know where you live. Figures. But he's an amazing, he's an amazing carpenter. He does so much work. You'll see their work, all of their work. You'll see it in City Hall, the elections office, the chief financial office. Carlos, we'll be there. All right, thank you. I'm sorry about that. Thank you.
All right. Bear with me 1 second. As we have done, as we started a couple of years ago, and we're going to make this an annual event, we really, I think it's important, I know all of you do, to recognize excellence in city government and the delivery of important services and in public service generally. And a few years ago, you undertook, the department heads with input from many employees, undertook an effort to articulate a set of values for our organization. What does it mean to work for the city of New Bedford? What do we stand for? Because great organizations stand for something. People just don't show up to work and just go through the motions. You stand for something, right? Because when all the effort that you put in, all the work, all the devotion, it leads towards some end. And the work that was done yielded something that we've called the New Bedford Way, which is, and we're reminded of it when we walk into city offices around town. But it's a statement of values that we believe in, and they are, just by way of reminder, the values of accountability and integrity and innovation and continuous improvement and teamwork and respect. This is why we do what we do and how we do it. And it's not, you know, at the time when we undertook this effort, and it's worth reiterating now, this is not the Mitchell administration's set of values. This is the New Bedford Way. These are New Bedford's, the values that New Bedford city government will be run by as articulated by you, not formed by me, not formed by my administration. It is something that is common to or transcendent of every mayoral administration. That's the way we should see it, because that, as we know, the work that we do goes beyond any one mayor, because mayors come and go. It's really about the people that we serve. So in that vein, one way to reaffirm all those values is to recognize those who exemplify it very well. And there's a long, long list of people that we could give awards to, that we could honor for excellence, that we could honor for just doing a great job, for going above and beyond. And that's the only problem with giving out awards. It's the people that you don't recognize. So you can't recognize everybody in one year. What department heads were tasked with doing was to nominate people who are, who exemplified values of people who came top to mind, and that's whom we're going to recognize this year, knowing that there are lots of folks we should be recognizing. So, and what we try to do is to, with each of these awards, highlight a particular value that is part of the New Bedford way. So, and again, my podium's falling apart, but we will. There were a handful of people that I want to just begin with to recognize. So the first is the value of teamwork. We'll start with Sarah, and I just want to get the nomination right up, just so that I can really put a fine point on it. So, oops, can you help me with this? Kenny, I want some glue. You know, I think he did that on purpose. It's just it's the last act, his last official act. Yeah.
Put it on the tablet.
So the first set of awards goes to the folks who were involved in the Fresh Start program as an exemplar of the kind of teamwork it takes to get big things done. And the Fresh Start program is really a housing stabilization program, and it was a multi-agency, multi-department effort that took place over the last couple of years to deal with residents who were in a bad situation, whether it was a hoarding situation, whether there's some other type of housing crisis, and these things get very, very complicated and require tremendous care and effort and communication, and egos have to be put aside, and a common understanding of what the needs of the people you're trying to help have to be foremost in mind. And there are folks from a number of different agencies that we wanted to honor. We're going to honor, in this particular case, the agencies that were involved in it. And I want to name the folks specifically who were involved in it, and call up the department heads who were involved in the program. So for the Fresh Start program, I want to first of all recognize community services. So Cynthia, if you want to come on up. And with your team, with Nora Andino, John Lobo, Pauline Macedo. Actually, we can come on up, John. I also want to call up from, again, a multi-departmental effort, Ann Gagney, again, round 2 for you. It's like you're getting another Oscar. And Damone, if you could come on up, in health. And from the task force, John Floor and Lindsay Montero. Guys, come on up. Inspectional services. Oh, yeah, and I'm sorry, you left out Gail Joseph. Where's Gail? Is Gail here? And then last is inspectional services. Where's Danny? Is Danny here? Danny's not here. All right. So in any event, this was an effort that has yielded real results. There are people who have stable housing now as a result of a coordinated effort among all these departments. They're living better lives, and what I really want to stress is this wasn't easy, and it couldn't have happened if they weren't talking to one another. And that's I think if there's anything, to my mind, that exemplifies teamwork in city government, it's when that happens to solve a complex problem, and that's what you guys did. And I just want to thank you for those efforts. Thanks, guys. And health, and well done.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Lindsay and John, come on. Thank you. And that's it. Thank you. Thanks, guys. All right. So next up, there is under the heading of the value of respect. There are lots of folks. What's that? Oh, microphone. Thank you, Mo. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So under the heading of respect, so there are lots of this value is exemplified in countless ways in the work that all of you do over time, and the person that we're honoring today for her work in traffic is. In the way of respect and conveying respect to the public, her degree of difficulty is higher than most. Let's just put it that way. So, so we're going to be honoring Lori Alfonso today. Where's Lori? Hi. So I'm going to read the recommendation from Scott Downing. Where's Scott? Is he here? He's just going to sit and watch all that. He's got the bad back. He's got the bad back. You just all right. I'll read Scott's nomination, which is as follows. So Senior Account Clerk Lori Alfonso has gone the extra mile, learning to be able to handle all facets of the day-to-day operation within the Office of the Traffic Commission. She has excelled with understanding in the ins and outs of the new machinery installed within the Elm Street garage. She strives in her performance with integrity when either helping a customer, working with a coworker, or a city official. She has on many occasions offered to walk other departments through a fix on similar equipment to ours. She has even gone on-site to fix their problems while maintaining her workflow for both the Traffic Commission and the downtown parking enterprise. For these reasons, I feel Lori is the perfect candidate for the Mayor's New Bedford Way Award. Strike the Mayor's thing. It is the New Bedford Way Award, and I'm just happen to be the guy that delivers this award. You go the extra mile, and you do it sometimes under really difficult circumstances, and it is hard in your line of work, as your boss can attest sometimes, to reflect back the respect that people expect to get from you. And I just want to say how pleased we are to award you the New Bedford Way Award this year. All right, next up is, okay. So next up is the award for the value of integrity, and it is going to Jeff DeMello from the airport. Come on up. Scott, come on up. So I'm going to read Scott Service's commendation and have a couple of words to say. So Jeff is a longtime employee at the airport for almost 30 years. With all the changes over the last year, he has been instrumental. Get the pun, instrumental airport. Was that intended, Scott? Instrumental, all right. And moving us forward. He helps train the new guys, which in last year's case included the airport manager and the assistant manager. So you guys needed some adult supervision, I guess. Jeff has a thorough understanding of the airport and all its idiosyncrasies, from lighting to heating to endangered habitat. He was at the airport when we had our 139 certificate originally and knew how to bring the airfield back up to the needed standards to get us recertified. So it comes around, goes around, right? And when you started your career, it was an airport that could do commercial air service, and you're leaving it back certified again, which is really impressive. He treats all the passengers and employees with courtesy and respect. He helps the airport team accomplish its goals with integrity. Jeff is expected to retire next year. Maybe he'll have second thoughts now. And his depth of knowledge will be greatly missed. I can't say it enough. And what Jeff has done is, in a very technical setting, has made sure that things stay on track. And for those of you who've seen things play out at the airport, there has been turnover. Before Scott got here, there was a gap in leadership. And at the same time, there were big things going on. The 139 certification, 139 is an FAA rule. If you comply with it, you get to fly big flights out of your airport. We did, and that's a huge step forward, not just for the airport, but for the whole regional economy, for that airport to be a real airport. So there's lots of great things to come in that way. And Jeff, you truly were instrumental in that effort, and I can't thank you enough, and it's an honor for me to give you this award. Thank you. All right, the next award is the award for innovation, and it will go to Alexandria Matthews from Parks, Recreation, and Beaches. Where is she? There she is. Mary, come on up. Well done, well done. And I will read Mary's commendation as follows. So, Alexandria has taken our after-school programs to a new level of excellence while expanding the number of schools and children that we serve. She has introduced STEAM programs by partnering with other organizations such as student engineers from UMass Dartmouth and the National Park Service. She has also introduced social and emotional learning opportunities, including yoga and mindfulness. She has provided staff with professional development, increasing their job satisfaction and retention, and adding to their skill set involved in serving youth. Through her ingenuity and hard work, she has enhanced programs, added services, and professionalized the after-school programs, all without additional city funds. And that's always music to my ears, Alexandria. She has become a successful grant writer, which allows us to offer all of these services free to the public schools and families of New Bedford. And therefore, I am recommending Alexandria for consideration in the category of continuous improvement and innovation. And that's exactly what we're talking about, the out-of-the-box thinking, doing problem solving on your own. One of the things that we've as a city, that we've tried to cultivate, and I know so many of you exemplify this, is figuring out the stuff on your own, not waiting for the mayor to say, hey, you need to do X, Y, and Z, not waiting for somebody else to say it, but just saying, okay, we've got a problem, we've got some responsibilities here, let's figure it out, let's make it happen, and that's what you've done, and there are a lot of kids benefiting from that. So it's my honor to award you the New Bedford Way Award for your great work. All right, so we have now 3 general awards. There's 1 for excellence in leadership and 2 for excellence in public service. So the Excellence in Leadership Award goes to a department head, although it's not necessarily designated for a department head, but in this case, it's a department head who I'm sure everybody would recognize as a very effective leader, and that's Pat Sullivan, who is on vacation, and the guy deserves it. Pat is recommended by none other than Kenny Blanchard. This is your last official act, Kenny. Because Ken works with Pat all the time, and he sees what Pat does, but in Pat's position, he works with so many other departments, Pat's leadership, Pat's dedication to the organization, to the city, shines through in everything that he does. And so I'm going to read Ken's commendation, which is as follows. Pat has a strong work ethic, a dedication to the citizens of New Bedford, and empathy for the less fortunate. He has been in his position for many years due to his integrity and accountability, not only on a local level, but also on a federal level, too. I've had the pleasure of being involved in construction projects that Pat's office has had the lead on, and I can tell you firsthand his dedication to success through teamwork is unparalleled. Pat has represented New Bedford's needs in Boston and Washington with poise and professionalism. And one of the things, just to elaborate a little bit, what Ken's referring to is that in the case of the state level, people look at Pat as being, the model for the way you do community development. It really does. I mean, everybody in the state knows Pat. Pat is, Pat's understanding, his experience, and his skill set really are known pretty far and wide. And that includes at the national level as well. Pat is now the president of community development leaders nationally. There's an association that he's been a part of for a number of years. They elected him president in recognition of the work that he does. And so, we're lucky to have him. He's lucky to be on vacation this week. We miss him today, but I'm just very grateful for Pat for doing such a great job and for building a great team, people like Lori and Eddie and everybody else over in CD, and it's just a very effective place, and the citizens of the residents of our city benefit from it. So let's hear it for Pat. So the last 2 awards are in the same category, and that's excellence in public service. And it's important to have this award because that's when you add up all the values. When you combine all of the values, that's what it adds up to. It adds up to excellence. That's what we want to be known for. That's what we strive for. That is what the residents of our city deserve, for us to deliver excellence to them. And there are 2 individuals who have very different jobs who exemplify this, and who are just great models for everybody else, and who, through their work, exemplify each of the individual values in the New Bedford way. So the first recipient is William White, Bill White. I was hoping this would be a surprise for you. So I'm going to read Ken's commendation, and I'm going to add a couple of thoughts. So this is what Ken says of Bill. So Bill is the epitome of a custodian. His demeanor is well suited for his position, even killed and what's this word used? Contemplative?
Christina, what did I say?
What did he say? It's only have a dictionary. He has a tremendous work ethic and shows pride and ownership in his assigned building. He is constantly looking for ways to improve upon the means and methods used to maintain buildings. Very often, Bill can be seen engaging citizens or tourists in one-on-one conversation while meticulously maintaining the grounds outside and around the main library. I recently learned of Bill's unique talent and interest in horticulture, and as a matter of fact, he is a licensed arborist. Bill has voluntarily been teaching a gardening class at the main library once a month during his off hours to residents. I would officially designate Bill as custodian and ambassador of goodwill. I see it all the time with my eyes, and I know the city councilors do, and everybody works at City Hall and the library. The grounds of the library are immaculate for a very good reason, and it's because Bill is out there attending to it with devotion and love and the kind of reverence that that building, which is so central not only to the library system but to the city, the treatment that he offers it consistently, reliably, and it's just it's a really, what you do is a great testament to what we're trying to achieve in the city. We're really trying to exalt what we are as a city, to exalt the community, to exalt the things that we cherish, including our library. And you work really hard and thoughtfully, Bill, and it's just an honor for me to to watch your work, and an honor for me to award you the New Bedford Way Award. All right, the last award, again, for excellence in public service, is a guy who has been with us for quite a number of years, and who is just fabulous at his craft, just really, really good, but somebody who goes above and beyond, whose reach is far greater than the literal responsibilities in his job description, and really has, through his work, contributed significantly to the well-being of our city in so many ways. So, and that person is Mike Thomas. Mike. So I'm going to read what Mark wrote about Mike and his commendation. So it's as follows. So nominating Michael Thomas. Michael is one of our senior medics who always puts his team before himself. He goes above and beyond the status quo, always willing to help the less experienced medics who may be having difficulty adjusting between school/clinical rounds and actual paramedicine. He has also volunteered to represent New Bedford EMS on the Love Your Heart campaign initiated by Dr. Mike Rocha, and which is a program to help identify those out in our community who may have been having cardiac conditions and undiagnosed hypertension by giving free blood pressure clinics across the city. There's a lot to be said about Mike and the example he sets by just being really good at what he does, but also understanding the mission, bringing others along through education, through mentoring, through just being there for anybody who needs help, and in the process saving a lot of lives. So Mike has tremendous respect, not just in EMS but across city government and in the community, and he certainly deserves this award, and it's my honor to award it to him. So let's have another round of applause for all of our awardees. Nice job, everybody. Again, that does it for today. I just want to say thanks again. You guys are doing great work. I see it from where I am. I'm glad I have this opportunity to tell all of you this and to have it seen publicly, because you deserve to have all those accolades, and keep up the great work, everyone, and have a great weekend.